Welcome back, folks, to This Week in WordPress and SaaS. We've got a returning guest, a friend of the show, somebody that I admire, Dr. Evil, KK. That made him laugh.
Actually, I have the Dr. Evil right here, not to mess up the introduction, but...
No. We got Adam from CartFlows, SureMembers, and WP-Crafters. We're going to be discussing all things WordPress, where Adam thinks WordPress is going. Also going to be talking about SureMembers, CartFlows. It's going to be a fabulous show. It's our last show of 2022. It should be a great show. Before we go into the meat and potatoes of it, I've got a couple of messages from our major sponsors. We'll be back in a few moments.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Lifter LMS, the leading learning management system solution for WordPress. If you or your client are creating any kind of online course, training-based membership website, or any type of e-learning project, Lifter LMS is the most secure, stable, well-supported solution on the market. Go to lifterlms.com and save 20% at checkout with coupon code podcast20. That's podcast20. Enjoy the rest of your show.
We're coming back. I just wanted to say that we got some amazing special deals from our sponsors. Plus, we got a list of great plugins if you're looking to build a membership or a learning management system on WordPress. Got a great list of plugins that we use, so you don't have to hunt for them. To get all these goodies, all you have to do is go over to WP-Tonic deals, WP-Tonic/deals, and you get all those goodies there. I've also got my great co-host, got Kurt with me. Kurt, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Sure. My name is Kurt Von Onen. I own a little agency called Mañana No Mas, which means basically that I get everything done on time and under budget. And folks, I just thrilled to be here with Adam. I met him at WordCamp US, and I've been following his stuff for a long time, so it's kind of cool to be in the conversation.
Right then, Adam. So would you like to give an introduction about yourself and how you got into WordPress in general to the new listeners and viewers who might, for some reason, not know you?
Oh, I'm sure there's a ton of people that have never come across me or one of my videos, but I'm working to fix that. Anyways, and me and Kurt are actually neighbors. He's not like next door neighbors, but we might as well be in terms of he's in the neighboring city of mine. So, but my name's Adam. Most people might recognize my voice or my beautiful bald head from YouTube. I was probably one of the earliest folks on YouTube making videos regarding WordPress, building websites, building your business online. And so that's where my claim to fame would be, if you could call it that. But then probably, 2017, I decided to get into making products. And so there's several very successful products that we've come to market with. CartFlows was the first, and then we came out with Presto Player. I love Presto Player. It's the most amazing video player for WordPress. And more recently, SureCart and SureMembers, and there's about 3 new things coming in 2023.
Oh, that's great, because Adam, you've got plenty of my money. I've bought all your stuff. So I've contributed my bit, haven't I, Adam? So SureCart and SureMembers, why that direction, and what was, why that particular product market position took your fancy? Why that particular area?
So there's actually multiple ways I could answer that one. We'll go back to the early days. So the first product I came out with was CartFlows, and CartFlows is for WooCommerce. So it turns WooCommerce into a tool that can have an optimized checkout, upsells, order bumps, and all this kind of stuff. And we gained a ton of experience through the CartFlows experience, working with. We have now about 250,000 merchants using CartFlows. So we got a ton of experience into the needs of a merchant, as well as being merchants ourselves. And so I wanted to do something. Actually, I probably wouldn't recommend this to just anyone, but I wanted to do something bigger. Everything I try to do next is bigger than the thing I did prior. And so when looking at e-commerce with WordPress, I'm sure I'm not the only one that would agree. There should be more options on the market than there currently are, right? We have pretty much WooCommerce has 99% of the market. Like everybody else is just getting the crumbs. And this means there's like very few options on the market. And everyone could probably also agree that there's some issues there with WooCommerce as well. Some challenges. It's not so easy to set up. It could be kind of pricey when you want to do something simple and you're spending a couple $100s per year per simple thing that you're trying to do with WooCommerce, and the performance issues of WooCommerce. So I felt that there could be a better way, and that's how SureCart started.
Nice.
And it is a better way.
Wow. It's a big beast. It's a big target. What have been some of the challenges that were slightly unexpected in trying to become a player in that particular sector, Adam?
Well, I'll tell you, building an e-commerce platform is not for the faint of heart because it's complex, requires very smart people. So SureCart is not just me. I have multiple co-founders that are very, very smart people because there's a lot of intricacies with an e-commerce platform that you don't realize. And some of the e-commerce platforms as well, they go the easy route, right? You start using it and then you realize, this is pretty much just a Stripe wrapper. Uses Stripe for everything. I can't do all these things I need to do for my e-commerce store. And so as we were building out SureCart, it's so funny. Like when I first announced SureCart, I was transparent. I'm like, yeah, I've been working on this thing for 2 years. And there was someone saying, oh my gosh, I could have built that thing in 3 months, and like, oh, I'm like, okay, great. There's not a chance. Just like a tiniest component of SureCart took 3 months to build, but ultimately we haven't run into a lot of challenges. And I think that's because we knew what we were getting into. We fully scoped it out. We knew exactly what we needed. We got the right people to help and build this thing out the right way. And because we have a lot of experience building products and we have a deep connection to the community. So I knew what people needed because I needed it myself. I made sure we had the right people with the right skill sets to build this thing. And it's been amazing. It's been a great process. But I will say it's the most challenging thing that I've ever built because it's very intricate. So for example, taxation, I'll tell you like the toughest thing. You want to know the funniest, toughest thing is like European tax laws. Like every different country has a different requirement. For example, if you live in Italy and soon France, if you're a merchant in Italy or in soon France, every day you have to have an XML export of all your orders with all the sequential order numbers, and you have to send that to the tax office daily. So it's really been navigating all these like intricate like requirements for all the different countries in the world because it's a global platform. That's been fun. It's been a fun onion to peel.
I'm sure.
Yeah, but
it
you
sure.
describe a scenario of train hard and fight easy, though, right? So as long as you're well prepared and you know it going in, then boom.
Yeah, well, the funny thing about some of the EU regulations, they keep popping up. There's something new every year, a new challenge every year. But it's okay because we built the platform in such a way where we can we're EU compliant. Where you'd be surprised to note most e-commerce platforms are not. They're not EU compliant in the slightest. But there's so many different requirements regarding how VAT is displayed, inclusive, exclusive, sequential order numbers, like you name it. It is subscription reminders, 7 day. Well, that's a simple thing, subscription reminders, but you'd be surprised at how few platforms actually have that. Yeah. So that I think would probably be the one thing that has been the toughest. Well, no, it's not that it's been tough. It's just been a curveball. So we're just catching the curveballs, which is perfectly fine.
Over to you, Kirk.
Oh, Adam, out of the products you mentioned, the thing I have the most experience with is Presto Player, and I'm looking forward to trying SureMembers out with a combination of tools that Jonathan promotes at WP-Tonic. And you've already touched on it. But like, what could you share with the audience as far as like the strategy of launching something successfully in the WordPress space?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate that every product I've launched, I've been all in on, and they've all done amazingly well. Of course, I'm in a little bit of a different situation in that I spent 5 years building a YouTube channel. It's actually been 7 years now, building a YouTube channel and a community of people that believe in me and trust in the decisions that I'll make. So they know that if I come out with something, I'm in that for the long haul and it's going to be the best in that category. So I have that, like, I don't actually call it an unfair advantage. It's a very fair advantage because I spent years building it, and I truly care about the people, my users, the people that are on my channel. I truly care about all of them. But if you don't have that, I think the most important thing when bringing a product to market is how the heck are you going to get users aware of this product? So if you don't have the already existing following or subscriber base or people that are keeping their watch on you, you have to figure out who does and how can you, what's the word? Like butter them up is one way of putting it. Butter them up, befriend them. So like, for example, I go to WordCamps. And actually a lot of people come up to me at the WordCamps, right? Because of the YouTube channel. But I'm going to the WordCamps for what I was just talking about. I'm going to the WordCamps to talk to people, get joint efforts together, exposure to products, things like that. That's why I'm going to WordCamps. You know what I mean? Make friends. Of course, I like the social aspect of it as well. I love making new friends. But I made the effort to go to WordCamp EU in Porto like 6 months ago and go to the one in San Diego. That didn't take much effort because it's not far from me. But I'm making the effort to go to Bangkok in 2 months, and I'm making the effort to go to Athens in June or July. I think it's June, because I want to get as much exposure for my products as possible. So if someone's coming to the market with a product, you're going to have to figure out who has the eyeballs and how can you befriend those people and get them to buy in on your vision of what you've made and have it really make sense. So to get access to the people that actually use the things. So I think that is like the biggest key, right? It's the biggest key for everyone. Like, how are you going to get to the buyer or the user if it's a free product?
You remember?
Yeah.
You remember that I was trying to persuade you to go to Orange County one. You remember that first one, and you were a bit. I'm not sure if it's worth me going, and I said, "Oh, you should go." Adam. Definitely go.
But didn't I go? Like I went to like 2 of the ones in
You
Orange
went.
County.
I met you there.
Oh yeah, we met for the first time there. It
Yeah.
was in 2019 probably, or 20. I know I
Oh,
was there
God,
in
those
2018 and 20. I
times.
got a good memory. 2018 and
Oh,
2019 I was there.
I haven't. It all merges. But I remember you were thinking of going and you weren't too sure. And I said, "Oh, you definitely should go, Adam. It's well worth the effort." I still remember that one. Actually, it was quite well run. Actually.
Well, let me say something to that. Like
He's frozen.
He's gone.
He's gone. Oh God! Wait, he'll come back. I have to edit that out.
No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, I was in a StreamYard one the other day, and the same thing happened. But I'm not dropping off. It just goes away for like 10 seconds. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
We could just edit that, fix that with editing, right? Anyways, I was just going to share that my wife would disagree, but I tend to be like a little reserved when it's groups of over 2 or 3 people with me. I can be nervous. I don't know. Technically, I don't know anybody IRL, right? In real life at these things when I went to the first ones. So it was like, oh, but you know, you go there, you just got to push through it and break out of it. A great strategy is to look at the attendee list. Contact some people in advance that you want to have a meeting with. Hey, can we get together for 20 minutes? This, that, and the other. There's lots of ways of going to a place where you don't know anyone and actually overcoming that I don't know anyone thing.
Well, you're a bit like me because I think you would say not totally. It's a mixture of both, but people think I'm a total outrovert, but I'm not. I'm quite introverted actually, and I think you're a bit like that yourself.
Totally.
Because you run a very successful YouTube channel, they straight away think you're going to be a very outtroverted type, but you're a bit like me. So I think we're going to go for our break, Adam, and we'll be back. It's always a joy having Adam and having a chat. He's so knowledgeable. We will be back in a few moments, folks. We're coming back, folks. I just want to point out that if you've got a client and you're looking to build a membership website or a learning management system, why don't you look at WP-Tonic to host the website on? You get all the benefits of a suite of plugins that would cost you a lot of money, plus fantastic hosting. And another factor, you get consistent advice and support from WP-Tonic. If you have a technical issue and you're looking for some advice, you can approach WP-Tonic. So go over to WP-Tonic and sign up for one of our hosting packages. So straight back into it. So let's start with this. This is going to be an interesting one. What did you think of Matt Manweg's State of the Word 2022? I don't think this year it was a COVID event, was it? I think they managed to avoid that one. But what did you think of it in general, Adam?
Yeah, I thought, well, let me say, this might just be my perception. I'm, very much paying attention to these things, but it seems like WordPress is moving along a lot faster and smoother development-wise, core is, than it had in prior years as well. And you also see it in WooCommerce. There's like more aggressiveness towards building cool things that actually make sense. The full site editing things, started last year. And I thought to myself at the beginning of this year, no one's going to use this thing. And now I find myself a year later wanting to use this thing, and so I just see it continuing going in that direction. One of the things that I was really keen on in the State of the Word is all the discussion regarding artificial intelligence, which is something I've been very much using since 2020, and actually have been building a tool using artificial intelligence. But it was really nice to hear it from the State of the Word, the discussion of artificial intelligence as it relates to what we're doing, building websites, businesses online and stuff like that. That was quite interesting to me. But personally, I'm quite optimistic about the future of WordPress, where it's going, the new things. Let's face it, at a certain point in life, you don't like new things, right? Like, when I was in my 20s, something new, I love everything new. Let's throw it out. My wife used to complain. I would always change everything up at the house. Like there'd be a different phone, a different cell phone, a different TV. I would change everything up all the time. But, when you get in your 30s, you're like, I don't like it so much. I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable by this thing. And I'm sure that just gets worse and worse as you get a little older. But I'm excited for the changes and the improvements that are happening to WordPress and WooCommerce. I think it feels like there's new blood making decisions, or there's actually some direction where it hasn't felt that way in the past.
Yeah, what was your reaction about the statement about changing how Premier plugins are dealt with in the directory? I thought that was quite interesting, because I thought that was never going to be touched. You were never going to see any movement in that particular area, but it seems to me that almost everything's up and being looked at now. Did you get that impression?
Do you mean the new taxonomy, where like if you're looking at a theme, it says if it's commercial or community supported in the same? I guess it's not implemented yet for plugins. I actually wanted to make a suggestion, though, that there should be a new taxonomy that the users place on these things of excessive banner ads. I had installed the plugin the other day, and like 5 days later, all of a sudden I had 5 banner ads in and this plugin was on hundreds of thousands of websites, and I'm like, how can you do something like this? So I'm all for more transparency with these things. And it could go either way. I think it's probably maybe in some regards it's very good if you make a choice based upon there being real support available, there being a paid option that might provide better support. I think I once told this story. I was an early user of Pods. Pods is
I know you did a few videos on your YouTube. You were quite supportive of it, really, weren't you?
And this was like in 2016, 2017, and I realized, I've got some problems now with Pods. Who can I go to? Guess what? It's nobody, because they and then the plugin hasn't matured or changed or improved or anything. Not their fault. It's community supported, So, I probably would have gone advanced custom fields in hindsight, because I know I could have paid for a professional version, gotten professional support, and it would continue to improve and get better over time. But when you go with some of these non-commercial plugins, that just doesn't happen, and it's no one's fault. It costs money. Every support ticket costs money. Every developer hour costs money. So I think it's interesting in that way, that regard. I think there's a certain user that wants to use everything that's free, and they might cripple the potential of what they're doing. But there's also the person that wants to know that there's always someone to go to and it's not going to be abandoned. How many plugins have you used that are either overtly abandoned, like they're saying it's now abandoned, or you could tell it's abandoned because it hasn't had an update in 3 years and you thought this was the coolest thing when you installed it? That's happened to me far too many times. So in that regard, I might just prefer a commercial version of something, even if it's free, because I know they're going to keep the free one going because they've got the pro version.
Over to you, Kurt.
Well, I can't help but be distracted about how you talked about the YouTube stuff, and it's almost like a follow-up question.
Sure.
That's how I know you. I know you from the YouTube. And then when I deal with customer support, it's people say, I saw a YouTube video with Adam, and Adam says, right? And then I got to word it so that, I got to float around Adam's words to get what I want to do in the support ticket, right? And I can't ask you for your secrets, but how can you inspire? How can you inspire or attribute that type of success? What was it? Just stick-to-itiveness and sticking with it and watching the numbers grow, or because a lot of people make great content and don't have any followers on YouTube. It's a really weird environment.
Yeah, you know what it is. I don't want to discount myself, and I don't want to discount the factor of luck, right? Because luck and timing, not luck, but luck and timing. Like so it's all three things have to be there, right? If you don't have like the right personality for it that makes people feel connected to you. So for me, I'm actually the same person I was before I uploaded my first video. I like people, I like talking, I care about people genuinely. I'm in real life, I'm a nice, like a really nice, generous guy. I give more to people than they'll ever give to me. That's just who I have always been, and that's who I still am today. I think that comes across in the videos, and I would tell you that I'm also intentionally, when I'm making a video, I want to be a likable person. There's something to that, that you also have.
So obviously that's where I've failed, isn't it, Adam?
No, certainly not. But it's being real too, right? Like, you're very real, Jonathan. Yeah, very real.
Here you go. He'll be back.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. He's stuck in mid-fin, folks.
But he froze on the Mr. Evil pose.
Oh, right. Like, that's part of it, right? Like, you could joke with the people that watch your videos. I didn't come up with this Miss Dr. Evil thing. It was like everyone started calling me Dr. Evil.
Well, it's actually when you came regularly on my round table show, we named you Miss Dr. Evil.
And I embrace it. I embrace my flaws. No, that's not a flaw. That's just like a genetic thing, right? I'm sure Kurt can relate.
Have you still got the white cat that I sent you?
I do. Absolutely. I do. Oh, that's true. That's right. Oh, that's so true. It was Jonathan who mailed me a gift, and it was the Dr. Evil's white cat. Oh, that's so great. Bringing up the old times, the memories. I think that's fantastic.
I hope you still strike it, but there we go.
Let me finish up on the question. I'll try to do it concisely. I think number one, one of the things I see a lot of YouTube, the mistakes they make, that maybe someone wanting to make a YouTube video, they're not personable enough, and they're not in building genuine relationships with the community. That is what becomes the mustard seed of your channel that ends up growing. When you do right by them, you communicate with them because you just genuinely care about them. I really think that is it. And a lot of people, they're just not interested in doing that. And there's bad stuff that come with that too, right? You put yourself out there, you do get some people attacking you and hating you, but that's part of it.
Well, there's some genuine criticism, but also
true.
There's some people you're on their radar because they're just jealous, aren't they? It's fundamentally,
that's part of it.
They're just jealous, aren't they? They don't allow, there's two things. Either you get a bit bitter about other people's success, or you utilize their success to generate you to do things. There's two ways to go, isn't there? Either you get bitter about it, or you look at them and say, well, they did that. That motivates me to up my game. There's two ways of doing it, isn't it?
Well, and this actually ties into one of the questions you might ask me in about 5 minutes about, books or websites or online resources. I was thinking, what has inspired me as an entrepreneur, and it's other entrepreneurs. And where can you get access to other entrepreneurs? YouTube. Where can you follow other entrepreneurs' online journeys? YouTube. Or whether they have a blog or something like that. So I've always been and that's actually how I got my start on YouTube. I was watching YouTube videos, and I tell this story. He's one of the most well-known YouTubers today, tech YouTubers. His name is Marquez Brownlee, and his YouTube channel is MKBHD. And he started making YouTube videos when he was like 15, and they're still up. And he was just a little kid, and I thought, and now the guy's huge, right? He sits down with like presidents, he sits down with influential athletes, CEOs, like he's been at Elon Musk's Tesla, built with Bill Gates, like all these people, Kobe Bryant when he was alive. Anyways, I looked at this guy and I'm like, man, I saw this guy as a kid. And look at him now. If he can do it, I can do it. And that's how I got my start, And so, yeah, that's one of the things that's always surprised me. Like I look at people that have come up and I'm like, I'm happy for them. And how can I do it too? Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It usually boils back down to hard work, likableness, and a little bit of luck and timing.
Yeah, you do need a bit of luck, but in some ways you make your luck, but you always got to be aware that you do need a bit of that special luck. Don't ever kid yourself that it's all about, well, you can do, but you're going to be rudely awakened quite quickly, aren't you? In my opinion.
Especially it's a difference when you enter a market at the right time or you enter the market at the wrong time. Not the stock market, but like say you're having a product and you're entering that like the right time to have a product up and running was pre-pandemic. If you had your product up pre-pandemic, it shut up like a rocket ship. But then if you saw products going on that rocket ship and then it's the end of it, like, maybe earlier this year and you're like, I'm going to come out with the same product. It worked for that other company, and it's now crickets. The opportunity came and went.
Yeah.
Anyways.
On to the last question before we wrap up the podcast part of the show. Hopefully, Adam, you'll be okay to stay on for a couple other questions for our bonus content. But I always like this question. If you had your own TARDIS, Doctor Who, I don't know if you ever watch any BBC TV, you had your own time machine and you could go back like 7-10 years ago and you could mentor yourself for an afternoon, what would be the key message you would like to get over to earlier version of yourself that you think now that you would like to tell your younger self?
Wow, that is quite a question, and I'm afraid it's going to require a deep answer.
Yeah.
So not like a surface level answer, like a heartfelt answer. And it's probably a good way of wrapping up the year with like a heartfeltness, right? It's that time of year. I have always been business minded, business schools, business degrees, very business minded at a very young age. And I think that most people, including myself, don't think big enough.
No.
And they don't because they might not believe that they can do the big thing. And I think if I was to go back 20 years ago, 17 years ago, let's be more generous to myself, 17 years ago, maybe 20, I would say, Adam, do not be afraid to think big. You can accomplish that thing. You just have to figure it out, but you have to think big. Even today, I would say to myself, I think too small, even though like SureCart is Shopify level, right? Of complexity, capability, and all of that. I'm thinking big, but I'm trying to think even bigger. You know what I mean? I even know that like I could think bigger than that, I think that's what I would tell myself to remind myself that you can accomplish these things, but you just think too small. Why think I want to make $1 million when you could say, I want to make $1 billion? Seriously. Anyways,
millionaires are quite common nowadays.
Yes. Yeah. Not like, and once you have $1 million, you're like, oh, I should have been shooting for $1 billion. Like $1 million's actually easy to get. It's actually very easy to get. But $1 billion's a more of a challenge. So, anyways, I don't really care about money. I've got plenty of it. I don't really care about it that much. But it's not a driver for me, in other words, is what I'm trying to say. But I would just say think big. And I would encourage anyone to think big. I tell my son that you got to have big dreams.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Adam. Adam's going to stay on for some bonus content. You can watch the whole interview plus the bonus content on our YouTube channel. So, Adam, how can people find out more about you and what you're up to, Adam?
Well, the most exciting things that I'm doing right now is SureCart at SureCart.com. It's actually a full brand of Sure-related products. We have SureMembers. It's like a membership-style plugin for your website. We have SureWriter coming out, which is an AI writing platform that's coming out. We have SureTriggers that you can sign up now to use. It's a full automation platform rivaling Zapier, but it's also deeply integrated into WordPress. But of course, home base is youtube.com/WPCrafter. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll be happy to help in any way I can on your journey.
And my new co-host, Kirk has agreed to be my co-host in 2022, which is great news. So, Kirk, how can people find out more about you and what you're up to, Kirk?
I latched on to the name Mañana No Mas back in 2008 in New Mexico. And if you look Mañana No Mas up on Google, it's impossible to not see me there. So that's the easiest, best way to find me is just look up Mañana No Mas. I am also somewhat of a LinkedIn addict. I'm on LinkedIn every day. So if you go to LinkedIn/Kurt Von Ahnen, friend me, connect with me. It says to follow, but I always welcome connections, and I generally send an invite to get on a conversation real quick because I like to be relational on there. So that's the best way to reach me.
That's great. I just want to wish you, the listeners and viewers, a really happy Christmas and New Year. 2022 has been a great year for me. It's had some great ups and also some very painful downs. To say it's been a ride would be an understatement. It's been one of the most challenging, but also one of the most interesting years I had. I'm looking forward to 2003. I hope you have a great one as well. We will be back in the new year. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye. So on to our next question, Adam. So what kind of books, website, resources that have really influenced you the most, do you think?
So I think for me, being someone on YouTube, I'm also a consumer of YouTube videos, and I'm very inspired by people that share that you could see their success. For example, let me name a few people. And so if I name a few people, some people's reaction might be like, ooh, or all of that. I don't know. I think that's maybe just some false perceptions that people have. So for example, I admire Grant Cardone. If you guys, you could shake your head if you've heard about Grant Cardone. Okay. So I admire the guy. The guy went from being a drug addict to a multi-billionaire, and he flaunts it, but it's hard work. It's belief in yourself. He's the guy that came up with that 10X rule book. I think that helped catapult him and stuff like that. And of course, his folks are not, no one's perfect. But I'm very much inspired by the guy. He was on a TV show actually too. You might not be aware of it. It was called Undercover Billionaire. Yeah, it was Undercover Billionaire, where they put the person in a town. They don't know where they're going. They give them $100 and they've got like 30 days to or 90 days to make a business that is valued at over $1 million. He crushed it when he was on that show. But anyways, I like watching his path. There's another actual real estate guy is Mr. Big. Gosh, I forgot to remember the name of his channel. This guy's awesome to watch. He lives in Florida. He buys it. Is Mr. Big? Oh gosh, I totally forget like the name of the guy.
I do like the expression. He freezes. He's very animated. I do like it, Adam.
You guys don't freeze. It's just me. I think I don't know why. I think maybe my Google Chrome.
It's very entertaining, Adam.
Okay,
right,
like
it's Southern California Wi-Fi.
yeah. I think it's the Chrome browser can't handle all the video feed. But anyways, I think he goes by Mr. Big. Ben Mala, like Ben Mala. The guy's amazing. he went from just buying little duplexes in Oakland, you know what I mean? And now he's got, like, I love it when he has videos when he's inside of his house that's like a $30 million house in Florida on the water. It has like a lazy river in it, and he's just a normal guy. You look at the guy and you're like, I could do what he's done, you know. There's nothing. Anyways,
yeah, I've got a follow-through question linked to this. Obviously, there's been a lot of controversialism about cryptocurrencies and about how media personalities, YouTube influencers, were utilized to promote certain currencies and how they received quite large amounts of money. I always felt that you've always been very upfront that you make money initially from affiliate links, and you're always totally upfront about it from day one. But how did you were there moments where you were offered quite large amounts of money to promote something and you just couldn't do it because you just didn't believe in what they were selling? And how did you was it always really easy, or did you have to have a bit of a think about things?
Yeah, so I always operate with absolute integrity with everything I do. Let me tell you, though, I wish I was a financial YouTuber. I would have been rolling in the bucks. But YouTube, WordPress, I mean, let's just face it, WordPress businesses, they don't value what I do.
I know, they don't value anything I do either. So
I'm being very careful.
Don't take it personally, because it's not.
I could have used other words, which I'm sure, like, if we weren't recording this, we could easily use, but they just don't value this stuff. So of course I get offers, make a video, and I could ask for money, and they would just pay me money, and I could just make videos about whatever. I won't do that. And just like even if it's like a product, I don't necessarily make any money, and they're still reaching out to me. I won't take it if I don't really like believe in it, because if I make content on a product, if someone starts using it and they have a bad experience, I'm screwed. So I'm hypersensitive to that kind of stuff. So that might cause me sometimes to be a little behind the ball, you know, if someone's just talking about every new thing. And I'm not. I have a more of a wait and see approach, and I try it out for myself. So, like, for example, Elementor, I waited until they had like 30,000. It was being used by 30,000 websites, and then I'm like, there's something here. There's legs here. You know what I mean? They're not going anywhere. And you know, obviously, we know what happened there. So, but I tell you, making money in WordPress as like an affiliate marketer, there's money you can make, but you're not getting rich. Like, you might as well just go and make videos not about WordPress if that's what you want to do to make money. Why do you think I sell products now, right? I do much better with products. I could care less about referral links. I don't even mention them anymore. I could care less. And if there is a link, I'm like, click on it, don't click on it. I could care less. Actually, I do care, right? My wife's funny. She's like, if she's walking and she sees a dime on the ground, she's going to pick that dime up, you know? So that's still in me, you know, even though you don't need the dime. So please click on a link.
Yeah, please. But it's all kind of linked, you know. You built up the channel and that kind of, and you made a little bit of money from it, but it also opened doors for these other business.
Don't get me wrong. I did really well. Don't get me wrong. So, like, what happened was in just a little insight here, and so for what the people get in the bonus content actually pay for, or I don't know if they pay for this. Anyone that was doing what I was doing and had the audience that I had made a fortune in 2020 and 2021. We all made fortunes. Like, we all can now retire. Just the top 5 guys. Everybody else still didn't really make that much money. But now we're back to like 2018 levels where ain't nobody making like, no one's retiring. No one's retiring off what you make now.
So, just a kind of finish off question, a big question though. Obviously, I've been thinking it's been an ongoing theme with some of the interviews I've done, is that how can WordPress is a bit of a flea market. It's its strength and its weakness. You've got a lot of choice. It has some of the attributes of a full SaaS product, but you have the benefits of ownership, more ownership, not being tied in completely into a SaaS platform that can be extremely risky if you're building a business on Facebook or Twitter or somebody's platform. You're building a membership website on somebody's SaaS platform. So you've got ownership, and you've got more flexibility. You've got an enormous library of plugins, and we've touched on some of the strengths and weaknesses of that. But it's also a flea market. We have clients that regularly come to WP-Tonic, and they must have taken 6 months looking at every possible membership plugin, learning management system, and instead of getting on and building their membership site, they spent 6 months trying to work out what's the best WordPress. How do you think there's a way through maybe AI or some effective curation system that can help people get on board without it becoming a totally walled garden kind of SaaS scenario? Hopefully I'm not rambled on. Hopefully I'm making some sense, and maybe you got some insights.
Yeah, well, you certainly are right. There's a lot of choice, and there's like sometimes a little too much choice, right? When you go to that restaurant that has so many different things and you just can't decide what you want.
It's the Cheesecake Factory of open source.
Yes, the Cheesecake right? They've got nachos and salmon, and they've got like a hamburger. I mean, they got enchiladas. They got it all. So I think that there's no avoiding that. There's no fix. Actually, there's absolutely no fix, right? Because WordPress has very little barriers to entry, and actually AI it makes it worse, right? I can go to Chat GPT and have it make a WordPress plugin for me. Like, I've tested it and it works. You could type in make a WordPress plugin that will take it when someone leaves a comment. It will pass that off into MailChimp, and it will write the code, and you can make it a plugin.
Did you have to swear there, Adam? MailChimp. Oh, he's made him freeze again.
Good work, Jonathan. Good work.
I just made him freeze again. I'm so stunned by that.
Maybe I did. Anyways, yeah. So I think AI can make it worse. So it's like no barriers to entry, right? It's just a problem that's going to get worse and worse. There's really no way around it. I know for me, I always have a keen eye. Here's how you can tell a good product from a bad product is usually the UI. If it looks like a diarrhea UI, you know what I mean? Like it is like a hot mess in there and nothing makes sense. That's the one you typically want to avoid. For example, my products, we put the highest priority on user interface and user experience. In fact, I think, Jonathan, you use CartFlows. In 3 months, we have a brand new interface. It's just going to make you cry tears of joy. Nothing in WordPress looks this beautiful, works this easy. It's going to just blow your mind. And that's because we put a massive emphasis on user interface and we care about the user. It's easy to tell the good ones from the bad ones, in my opinion. But a lot of times people just look at the dollar sign too, right? Why am I going to use this one that costs this when I can use this one for free? It might look kind of ugly. Like the perfect example is like in the affiliate plugin space, right? For having an affiliate program on your site, there's like a free one that's like junk, you know what I mean? And there's a paid one that no one, it used to be Pippin, used to
Yeah,
own it,
Pippin
and
Williams,
so
yeah.
everyone just used that. So I just don't think there's unfortunately a way around it. I do think it'd be nice if there was more trusted voices though, to give direction, and I think maybe that's why my YouTube channel has done well. People, instead of them making the decision and doing all the evaluation, they would rather come to someone that has a genuine opinion on it. And that's actually part of the problem as well, right? If you're trying to do that opinion search on Google, you see the same entity that owns the top 10 results, and they're all telling you just use our products, So
well,
yeah.
I think we know who you're talking about, and I'm not the most popular, but I'm not very popular with him, Adam. With the odd little, it wasn't down to me actually, Adam. It was some of my other on some of my other shows, comments from other people. But there we go. But gotta have broad shoulders when you're in business, Adam. If you're handing out a bit of punishment, you've got to get a bit back, aren't you? So
I get it. I can relate.
It's when it's totally unfair and unjustified. You're just human, aren't you? So I think we're going to wrap it up. Adam, I've got to say, it's been a pleasure talking to you as normal. Don't leave it so long to agree to come back on the show. I thought we've had a fantastic discussion. I want to wish you and your family a great Christmas and New Year, Adam. We will be back in the new year, folks. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.